And welcome to the third episode of the Real Serious Podcast. I'm your host, Hunter, along with Charles. Charles, how are you?
Good. Doing well. Kind of cold, but fine otherwise.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Midwest is very cold right now, and our pipes froze yesterday, and
And
so
our
we had
house
no water.
has not heated properly forever, so that
Yeah, we had
hurts.
no water for the majority of the day.
A morale
Before we
dampener
get
for
into
sure.
No, big time. Before we get into everything, I want to just do a quick thank you for everyone who's been listening. It's doing a lot better than we expected just for being a starting off podcast. So thank you for those giving us 5 stars. Really appreciate it. Obviously, we think we deserve it, but it's great to hear other people think that we deserve it as well. And big news, now we're on YouTube. So some of you are seeing our faces right now talking. And if you haven't, please go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like and subscribe, as real YouTubers say. But no, thank you for listening. We really appreciate it.
Big time. Big time.
So Charles, lot of news this week. This is so far the most news we've ever had,
I know
and I am
our
very excited.
thumbnail is just packed.
Oh
It's
yeah,
chunky.
no,
There's
I had to
no blank
yeah,
space.
I had to cut some stuff because the thumbnail was too packed.
Hmm.
So what do you want to start with first? I assume, knowing you, you want to start with How to Train Your Dragon.
I do, and it's also at the top of the list, so might as well begin there.
Well, please explain why How to Train Your Dragon is in the news.
Well,
Because
How to Train
yeah,
Your Dragon. When did the third one release? So there are three How to Train Your Dragon movies. Do you know when the third one released? Probably
I
early.
believe 2018.
That recently? Okay. Yeah, How to Train Your Dragon. The first one is getting a live action remake, which is huge. I think they're bringing a lot of the original cast in, or a lot of the original voices to actually play the characters, which is really great news. I think they've leaked some of the dragons that are going to be like what they're going to look like too, and they look great. Am I wrong about that? Maybe I'm getting mixed up with something.
No, that is true. They've done some concept art that came out.
Yeah.
So it's written and directed by the same man, who is Dean DeBoyles, who has, let's see what he's also done. He was the writer and I think, let's see if he was the director. He was the writer and director of the other How to Train Your Dragon movies. So if he could do it in animation, see if he can do it in live action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think
But
it's huge.
I think it's gonna be pretty good. So a lot of the adults are coming back. So like Gerard Butler as the dad and Nick Frost as whoever Gobber was. I don't remember these
Mm-hmm.
movies.
Have you
But they're
seen
coming
them?
back, and I've seen the first one.
Okay.
I was more of a Shrek child
Okay.
than How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah.
Okay. I was more of a Kung Fu Panda kind of guy, as you saw last week in my
Oh really?
anticipated rankings,
Yeah.
but I saw these pretty recently, and I was a huge fan, really big fan. So I'm pretty stoked about this. And if they have the original cast, then I think it's gonna be really good.
No, I think it's gonna be pretty good as well, and no, I'm excited for it. I think it comes out next year, so fingers crossed it's good. But yeah, I'll have to wait and see. So going from news that's for you, now it's time for news that's for me because let's talk some Daredevil. So last week we kind of talked about it a little bit. Daredevil coming back, obviously, with Daredevil Born Again. We talked about it in relationship to Echo and how Echo was decent, but not really what we wanted. So
It's
Daredevil has now
generous,
been reached. I
decent's
know.
generous.
Decent is generous. I know the more I sit with it, the worse I think the
Yeah,
show
it's
was.
just
But now that we've kind of sat with it, and Marvel apparently has too, they have scrapped and redone all of Daredevil season 4 or Daredevil Born Again. So it was supposed to be 18 episodes. It was supposed to be a brand new story, kind of a soft reboot for the character. And now they've kind of gone back to the drawing board and are like, hang on, turns out those first 3 seasons were really good television. We should try to do those again. And so they brought in a lot of the original people back. They finally agreed to bring in his 2 main co-stars, which they were going to kill in the first episode, which is just dumb.
what a novel idea. Just continuing
I know.
what's successful.
It's crazy. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
But no, I think that as a Daredevil fan, we're fully back. So I am very excited for that and cannot wait.
Okay, so question. So you see how Marvel is just torching, botching
Yeah.
all of these characters and all these shows. Granted, they haven't had extensive backstories like Daredevil or a lot of lore like Daredevil already has because of all the TV that's already come out about that character. Are you at all worried that they're just gonna ruin this character and its legacy or his legacy? Like everyone loves Daredevil. Everyone
Yeah.
It's highly revered, and Marvel could just come in and completely torch it. Are you at all worried?
Oh, I'm a little worried. I think that I'm worried they're gonna avoid. Here's why I'm worried. When you watched Moon Knight, one of the interesting things about Moon Knight is his connection to his Jewish heritage, and they didn't really touch on it. There was a moment they touched on it, but it's like they avoided the conflict of religion, which is fine, like in a sense if you're playing it safe. But with Daredevil, you can't do that because his attachment to Catholicism is so important to who his character is, and so important to those first 3 seasons that if you just ignore that aspect, it's going to be a nightmare scenario for like whatever that show is because it's such a big question of who he is as a character. I think the action will be great because they're bringing back the original stunt choreographer. But I'm just worried it's going to be a Babies R Us version of the Netflix show. And if it is that, I don't know. I almost don't even want it. Like,
Is what it is.
do season 4 or don't do it at all. Is kind of my thought process. Which hopefully they're understanding that that's what we need, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like nervous, but like good nervous about it.
Okay.
So we'll have to see. But
I mean, you'll watch it, you'll consume it, regardless of whether or not it's
Yeah, no, 100%.
good
And
or
it's kind of
bad.
very interesting that like they brought Matt Murdock into the MCU, and like the first thing he did was like get laid. So they know my boy
Well, no,
rocks.
first thing he did was catch a brick.
Yeah, no, he was there. So of like what the 4 projects he's been in, he's been the best part of 3 of the 4. So my
Yeah.
man rocks. Yeah. So no, I'll take any more Daredevil I can get. But yeah. So that was the Daredevil news.
Speaking of getting
Let's
laid,
go. Oh, that's wild.
well, that's part of our news.
Is which one?
She-Hulk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Let's
yeah,
talk.
yeah. Let's
Yeah. Yeah.
snowball
Yeah.
into She-Hulk.
That was good. That was a nice transition.
Transition.
Charles, I'm going to ask you a question here about She-Hulk. If you had to guess how much She-Hulk cost, how much would you say it cost to make?
Um,
A 6-episode sitcom on a streaming service.
I'm trying to think. Like, the only special effects were done on her when she had to
Correct.
transform.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. Like, give me some other ballparks. Like, what are some other TV shows and like how much did they
All
cost?
right. I think the final seasons of Game of Thrones were like $180 million. I think like The Last of Us was like 120.
Okay.
I think yeah, like Succession's probably in its 70s to 80s million.
I would probably, and it's only 6 episodes.
Correct.
I'd guess somewhere like 60 to 80.
60, 80 million.
Yeah. I think
I'm
that's
sorry.
fair. I think that's fair. Like that's a fair
That's
guess, right?
probably that's probably the number it should have been, but I'm sorry, that's incorrect. It is $225 million.
No way. There's no way.
It cost almost $250 million to
How?
make She-Hulk season 1. Couldn't tell you. Now let me put a little cherry on top of this cake for you real quick. How much do you think the Avengers cost to make?
Um,
More or
300.
less. More or less.
I mean,
So you gonna know more?
I'd have to guess more.
That'd be incorrect once again. It cost $220 million to make. It cost $5 more million to make She-Hulk than the original Avengers.
And it did so much worse.
And
And it was bad.
yes. And so
I
why are
guess
we
I
talking
guess
about that?
the
Yeah.
Hulk was in it too, which probably ate up some
Well,
costs.
yeah. If
Had to
only the
pay
Hulk
Mark
wasn't in
Ruffalo.
the Avengers. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. Good point.
Um, but the reason we're talking about it is because She-Hulk will not be, according to star Tatiana Maslany, will not be returning for season 2 due to the high cost of season 1, which honestly not surprising. I think the show did well, like viewership wise, but to justify that cost for another season just can't happen. It's too expensive. You gotta start
But
throwing her in movies, which I think that she is supposed to be in Captain America 4, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah,
I just don't understand what the breakdown of that would be. Of
I assume.
$225 million for She-Hulk? Like, what's the breakdown? What was the most
Yeah,
expensive?
I guess her being She-Hulk was pretty expensive, but it didn't look like a show that cost $225 million. And I think that's a big problem with all the Marvel shows. Like even I'm sure Secret Invasion cost in the 200s, and it's like it doesn't look like it. Where's the
Yeah.
money going? uh,
Was She-Hulk
which is
6 or
not
8
good.
episodes?
I think 6.
Could have been 8. Now that
I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
about it.
6. Let's find out. She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, season 1. That was a one season. Dun, 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 dun. 8 episodes. You're correct.
Okay.
So it's 8 episodes that were like 30 minutes each, though. So it's a little. Oh, 9 episodes. 9 episodes.
Oh, well,
So
there
there
you
you
go.
go.
What's
Oh, well, in that case.
And they had to pay that cameo. Who was it?
Oh, the Abomination guy?
Oh, I guess yeah, he was in it. No, was it like Cardi B or something?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, Megan the Stallion.
Oh, it was Megan Thee Stallion. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So very exciting news from She-Hulk. Unfortunately, we'll not be getting a season 2. Kind of a bummer. Speaking of twos, Fast X2. Charles, what is your relationship with the Fast and Furious series?
I have no relationship. I haven't seen any Fast movies ever. I didn't realize until yesterday that how many Mission Impossible movies there are. I always think of Fast as like this never-ending series, but Mission Impossible is kind of getting there. Aren't there like 7 movies?
Okay,
Oh,
hang on.
I'm
We're not
not
doing
saying
we're not doing Mission
I'm
Impossible
not
slander right now.
I'm not slandering it. I'm just saying like I feel like I could get into Mission Impossible a lot easier than I would Fast X. Like I'm just not really interested in Fast X. It's cool racing scenes
So you
and
hate family. You hate family.
okay, that's just
Salute me
I
familia,
guess
first
so.
and
But
foremost. Yeah.
no,
Hobbs and Shaw.
I never
Heard of
saw
him?
that either. Wasn't Jason Statham in one of these?
Yeah, he was the villain in 7, and then he became kind of a good guy in 8, and then they gave him a spinoff.
Yeah,
So,
okay. See, it's just
listen,
silly.
maybe when you get to the high cinema sophisticated level like myself, you'll appreciate these movies. But the news is they're going back to basics with Fast X2, which I'm actually pretty excited about.
Back to basics.
Oh yeah, so they're doing a smaller budget, which for them is $200 million, and basically instead of doing a huge globe-trotting thing, they're going to focus more on the racing, more on the story, and focus more on family for Fast X2, which is apparently the last installment in the Fast and Furious franchise. Which I hate to say it, I'm sad to see go. I love the
Until they
Fast and
make a
Furious
spinoff.
movies.
Until they make a spinoff.
Oh yeah, no, Hobbs and Shaw 2 will be coming for sure. We'll just have to wait for it, but no, I think this is a good idea. I think one of the big complaints about Fast and Furious is that it got too over the top. I mean, you started off with movies where they stole like VHS tapes and VHS players, and now you're at movies where like The Rock changes the trajectory of rockets with his hands, and they went to space. Um,
Okay, that sounds
Not
pretty
bad.
cool. That sounds pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it's pretty awesome. Not bad things, but I think you kind of lost the sauce and jumped the shark a little bit there. But no, I'm excited for it. I will be seated for Fast and Furious X2, whatever they call it. But yeah, that is our Fast and Furious news, and you should probably watch those movies because
Yeah, maybe I'll run a marathon in
they're really damn
anticipation
good.
for this movie. Just like
Oh, it's perfect because I'll do that
Mission
with you because
Impossible
I love
marathon. Because I've only seen
and
Fallout, I think, which
that
is
movie's.
your favorite, right?
It's my fourth favorite movie of all time. It
Yeah.
is my favorite action movie ever. I think it is the perfect action movie on all levels. Which is, man, now I want to watch that. Maybe I'll watch that today. Speaking of Mission Impossible, so Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 came out last summer to a slightly underwhelming box office, most likely due to the fact that they put it the week before Barbenheimer came out and shocked the world. Not the best strategic location to drop a movie. But instead of now Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, it has been retitled to Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, which is interesting since the movie ends with the title card, End of Part 1. Um,
That is
so,
interesting.
yes, a little weird they're doing that, especially since we know Part 2 is already filming and coming. Will it be something different? I don't. What's the point of this? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I,
Yeah.
I don't really know why this would occur. Um, but yeah, very silly in my opinion to change the
Yeah.
name.
I had a question. I was thinking about it a couple days ago. Um, so you have all these movies winning awards, right?
Mhm.
And all the award ceremonies are beginning of the following year in
Correct.
recognition of the past year, you know? What
Yeah,
is, like statistically, historically, what is the optimal time to release a movie to get the most accolades and receive the most recognition at an award ceremony?
that is a great question. So there's like four parts of the year. There's the beginning part, which is January, February. That's kind of where they send movies to die, which we'll talk about later with our I.S.S. review. But that's where studios put movies that they don't really believe in. So a lot of times movies will go there that, like, hey, they may succeed, they may not. We don't really know. They'll send them February, March. That like February through March. Then starting kind of April, May, June, July, that's blockbuster season. That's where your big movies come out.
Thanks
Usually
for paying it
Marvel
forward.
starts. Yes. Usually Marvel or something like that starts off that kind of kickoff to summer. Here come all the big movies. And then the summer season is usually a lot of your big movies. Then starting off kind of October, November, December is when people start to call it more award seasony movies. So you're going to see a lot more serious adult dramas, serious period pieces, things like that. So usually around November, December, if your movie comes out then, that is when you're kind of in the heat of award season. So that's why things like The Holdovers, you saw this last year, a couple other releases came out like around that time because the issue is these awards are almost always voted on by people who just go see the movie. They're random people. A lot of times they're in the academy or other things like that. But for them, it's recency bias. You see something in January, you
Yeah.
forget about it by the time next January rolls around, but you see something in December, and now you're in January, and you go, "Oh, I remember that. I liked that," and you vote for it. Um, there's exceptions to every rule, though. Like Oppenheimer, big awards movie, came out in the middle of summer. That's because it was treated like a blockbuster, but still. So there's kind of those different sections of the year where things come out,
Cool. Thanks.
and that was a movie minute with Hunter, where I taught you something.
That was good stuff.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, sick, sick.
Yeah.
Uh, we have a lot of video game news to talk about because video games are getting made into movies. So our first one is Minecraft. So Minecraft is coming out in 2025. They've started to film. It is directed by Jared Hess, who has brought us such films as Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre, which kind of rocks. And if you think about it, this sounds kind of amazing. Here's a little rundown of the cast. We have Jason Momoa, Jack Black, who apparently was playing Steve,
That
Jennifer,
is the best thing
yeah,
ever.
yeah, Jennifer Coolidge, and Kate McKinnon. So kind of rocks.
Look, I'm gonna be real. I'm not a fan of these video game movies. I'm just
Oh,
not a fan. And like
interesting.
that's saying something because we're
Yeah,
both pretty big video game guys. Um,
yeah,
yeah, Super Mario movie. I went in like, oh, this is gonna be awesome, and like, yeah, there were some cool Easter eggs, but like, it's just not really a great movie. And I guess that's not the point. The point is to make it a fun movie. But like, Minecraft. The problem I have with this is they did regular Minecraft, they did Minecraft Dungeons, they did Minecraft Story Mode, and nothing has really hit the same as just plain old vanilla Minecraft. That's like my
I
jam.
agree.
Maybe other people
Yeah,
disagree. I was never a big fan of those spin-offs. And I
nope,
feel
I
like
agree.
the Minecraft movie is just their next attempt to do something, I don't know, obscure with the name Minecraft. And I'm just not a big fan of it. If Jack Black's in it, it'll probably be funny. We'll probably get a really great song out of it. But um, yeah, I'm just not a huge fan. I'm just not a big fan. That's just what I think, though.
I think that of all of the movies that are could become video games could become movies. There's a few that could work really well. I think that those that are story based, first person,
Zelda.
and Zelda, which is coming out in a few years.
I think Zelda would be good.
I think that games that are like Minecraft, like Terraria, things that are more just go wander, can't just don't work. And that's not a testament to the lack of actors and directors out there and writers that cannot make it work. It's just when you want to go see a video game movie, you want it to feel like the video game. and doing it like that in a game that's so creative is going to be really hard. Now, it's not impossible. I think that this has a shot to be really good, but it's more unlikely than not. But we'll have to wait and
Agreed.
see, I guess.
Like Wreck-It Ralph.
Um,
That was good. But that wasn't
but
like a
that
video
was
game movie. That was just
correct.
everything retro video gaming combined into one. And that was really cool because you had a story and you also had the Easter eggs. And it
Yes.
was cohesive, they worked well together, you know?
No, I agree, and I think that that's a big thing that this movie doesn't really have going for it. Especially live action. Like, how are you gonna do this? You gonna make everyone blocky? Like, I don't know.
Oh,
We'll have
it's
to wait and
live
see.
action?
It's live action.
Oh yeah, I thought it was gonna be a cartoon.
I cannot wait to see live action villagers. Her,
Mm-hmm.
her,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
her,
Huh.
her, her.
Huh.
Um, her. Um, uh, so kind of going along the lines of our video games, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. News there. Yeah.
Not good.
News there. Not good. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is one of the only movies I ever almost walked out on. I didn't, but
Weren't
I
you with
almost did.
Henry?
I was. And he and I almost walked out on it. But now they're doing a Shadow the Hedgehog spin-off movie, who apparently, rumor says, is going to be voiced by the one and only Hayden Christensen. And verbal meme, just when I thought I was out, they pull me right back in
Yeah.
because I kind of want to see how this goes.
Yeah. Has he done anything since Star Wars?
I
I
mean,
feel
he's
like
done a
this
few things
appeals
here
to
and there.
only Star Wars fans because all the Sonic fans quit with Sonic 2 because that movie was
Oh no, whoa, hang on. Sonic fans were fully bought in on Sonic 2. I was
oh,
fully out on Sonic 2.
oh, okay.
No,
Never mind
Sonic
then.
fans loved Sonic 2.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I
It
was
was just
mistaken.
me who was out. Yeah.
I thought Sonic 2 was widely kind of just like everyone hated it. I thought it
Sonic
was just
2
a
has a
bad movie.
70 on Rotten Tomatoes with a 96 audience score.
Never mind.
Yeah,
I stand
and made
corrected.
$400 million at the box office.
Never mind.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Not me.
Definitely not me.
Not me. Then I take back everything I
Um,
said.
yeah, no, it just wasn't for me, which is fine. But I don't know. I'm interested in this, but I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be great. I know they're already doing a Knuckles TV show. Look, if it's successful for them, it's a kids show. It's for them. Like that's awesome. I don't know. I just think you have an option to do really cool stuff with Sonic, and they just chose not to.
Yeah. Yeah. Another problem I have with video game movies is it's not very creative. Like I like new ideas, new concepts, new movies brought to light. You know, and all these just old video games that they're making movies. I think it's kind of lazy. Like the
Yeah,
reason why I was so excited for I.S.S. was because I was like, "Whoa, I've never like this is a really cool concept." Did they capitalize on the concept well? No, but it
yeah.
was still a
Stay
really
tuned to
cool
find out.
concept. It was
Yeah,
creative,
stay
and
tuned to see if we do that.
I was excited to watch it because of that.
Yeah, no, we'll get into ISS soon because I have many, many thoughts.
Yeah,
But no, I kind of agree. I actually more disagree, I guess, than agree because I think that there's a lot of really great video games that could become movies that they choose not to do, and there's a lot of great video games that shouldn't become movies that they choose to do, and it makes no sense to me. But you never know. You never know.
yeah. I suppose I think it's lazy, but I think that it's also lazy because they don't try to make them good movies. They just throw as many Easter eggs and as many just random things in there to appeal to video game fans as possible without making it a quality movie. Like the Super Mario Brothers
Yeah,
movie, that movie was just had the weirdest spacing, the weird like it just went in random directions, and
I think a lot of it is like, how do you do fellow kids
yeah,
instead of like actually trying to do like something interesting.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's a
but
good point.
yeah, so that was our video game talk. Uh, Now for a movie that's based on a game that exists. I think Tron 3. Have you ever seen Tron Legacy, Charles?
No.
Okay, so for those who don't know, Tron, like Charles, Tron is a movie that came out in the 80s that Disney decided to do to kind of try to do their own Star Wars. And it didn't really work all that well, but it kind of had a cult following. So then in 2011, I want to say, Disney said, hey, let's do it again. And they made Tron Legacy, a 30 some odd year later sequel that was pretty good, like quite good. Like I think I gave it 4 stars. And it was directed by the same guy who brought us Top Gun Maverick. Um, and then they were like, oh, we should do a sequel to that. And then they haven't. And so now, another decade and some change later, they are. They're doing Tron 3, starring Jared Leto, which, sick. I don't know. It's like,
Nice.
I don't know. It's, yeah, like, what are we doing here? They just started filming, I think, literally yesterday. So, I don't know. I'm kind of out on this already, but we'll
I'm not.
see.
I'm not gonna say I'm out or in until I've seen Tron Legacy and the original Tron. I remember seeing it when I was younger, like seeing I think ads for Tron, seeing action
Yeah.
figures, and I thought it looked cool. And I think the fight sequences don't they have like like
Yeah, so they have
glowing
discs and they have
discs?
the light
Yes.
cycles. Yeah. No, yeah, it's super sweet.
Yeah.
Um, but this one is not directed by the same man who brought us the last one and who brought us Top Gun Maverick. Instead, it is brought to us by, let's find this gentleman's name, Joachim Ronig, who brought us such movies as Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, and Maleficent, Mistress of Evil.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
real good track record here from this guy. Um, I don't know. The only thing that's kind of keeping me interested in this is the concept and also the cast, because yeah, Jared Leto's in it. Who are we not fans of as a podcast? I'm not a big fan of Jared Leto.
I don't think I'm familiar enough with his work to have an opinion. I
He's kind of a weirdo. But Cameron Moynihan and Evan Peters are in it, who I really like.
Evan Peters
So yeah,
plays Quicksilver in.
correct. And
Yeah,
Cameron
okay.
Moynihan
Wasn't he
plays,
Dahmer
I
too?
think, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm trying to think of things that you would know Cameron Moynihan from. He's in the Star Wars video game. He's like that guy that like leads
Cal?
that new. Yeah, Cal Kestis. Also, Greta
Okay.
Lee's in this movie, and this I think a starring role for her, which is exciting because I think she was really quite good in past lives. So, kind of exciting.
I'm
Very
in.
fun.
I'm in. You might be
Yeah.
out. I'm in. I'll see it. I mean, we'll probably both see it, but
Oh no, we're gonna see this. This is gonna be on the
yeah.
pod. We're gonna have to talk about this
When
one.
is it
I
released?
wonder how 2025. So
Okay.
next year. I
Okay.
wonder how Jared Leto's gonna go method with this. Like, is he gonna go like try to put himself into a video game or something, just to be like fully
Use
ingrained in
method?
this experience? Did you not know this?
No.
So you don't know the Suicide Squad stuff?
No.
Oh, okay. Pausing. I have to get the exact list.
Is this where we find he's a weirdo?
Okay, I always knew he was a little bit of a weirdo. Okay, so Jared Leto on the set of Suicide Squad reportedly dun, 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 sent his co-stars crazy stuff like a mouse. Sent them like rats because he was playing the role of Joker and wanted to really get involved. Which is so strange.
That's weird.
Yeah,
That's weird.
I he's a little bit of weird. So, um, kind of weird.
Yeah, maybe I'm out
Uh,
on Jared Leto too.
oh, also, do you know that he? Okay, I gotta find this. I want to find it as well. So he did a movie, where he was playing a. He played this role in Chaplin. It's, let's see. I want to find the exact movie. So he had to gain a bunch of weight for this role, right? Oh yeah, it's called Chapter 27. So Chapter 27 was supposed to be this movie where he could like maybe win an Oscar. It was about the murder of John Lennon by David Chapman. And so Jared Leto played David Chapman, who killed John Lennon. And so he had to gain a bunch of weight for it. And so, how would you gain weight for it, Charles? Because he did something very dumb.
Um, I'd probably just eat a lot over like
Yeah. So
calorie surplus every day.
he gained 65 pounds by eating pizza and burgers, and he would microwave chocolate ice cream, pints of chocolate ice cream, and drink 2 of those a day.
Ew. What?
Isn't that wild?
Ew.
It's insane.
He. Ugh.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this guy is a little
I
out
mean, I
there.
feel like all method actors are a little like they do some crazy
Yeah.
stuff.
I don't know. That one I
So,
think is pushed a little bit.
I mean, yeah, but like he probably gained the weight really fast, so props to him.
So, so true.
Yeah,
So true.
props to him.
Props to him for that
He
one.
knew what he was doing.
All right. Sundance is happening this weekend. Very exciting. Sundance, for all of those who don't know, is probably the premier film festival in America. So some things that are playing there right now are a new movie called A Real Pain, which, let's see, about. So it's Jesse Eisenberg who's directing and
Hmm.
wrote this, also starring in it. Um, with him, this is kind of like the premiere one, I think, of this, you know, thing and this showcase.
The
So,
headliner.
is, thank you. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Headliner. There's a few other ones that are pretty cool. Between the Temples is supposed to be very quite good. Pony Boy is supposed to be also a very good movie. And the one that I specifically am excited for is the one that is about the female bodybuilder. Let me find what that one's called. Oh, also, I Saw the TV Glow is apparently incredible. But the one I'm most
Ooh.
excited for is called Love Lies Bleeding. It's about a gym manager who falls hard for this bodybuilder, and they kind of go on like this weird, violent turn of a criminal family. Kind of sounds great and looks pretty awesome. So we'll kind of get all these reports out of here next week and see what everyone thought of these movies. But
And then these will release to theaters.
yeah, they'll release in different things. This is kind of a way for companies to buy these movies sometimes, so they'll get
Okay.
distribution rights and things like that. So we'll have to
And
wait and see.
then they'll
But
probably
one's
release
great.
this year and kind of intermittently. Like they're not going to release all at the same time, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, they'll release this year throughout, which would be exciting.
Okay.
So
Cool.
a lot of great stuff comes from this. This is how a lot of directors and writers are found and new actors. So really
Mm.
exciting time for people, especially if you're really into the future of cinema. But yeah, that
Sweet.
was a Sundance talk. We don't have a lot to talk about with it. But back to TV, White Lotus season 3, which great show. All
Hmm.
time theme song. It's like, dude, it's so good. You gotta watch
So
it.
I actually didn't hear any of that.
Oh, well, you're missing out. White Lotus season 3. So anthology show, new cast every single year. So this year joining the cast is Walton Goggins, Patrick Schwarzenegger, um, Leslie Bibb, Michelle Monaghan. So pretty great cast so far. Excited to see who else joins this cast as it goes along. But yeah, I hope they're in the snow. Hope it's like a snowy place they go to. So I'll have to wait and see, but I'm excited.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. True.
Yeah, you seem very excited for this.
Yeah. I've never seen White Lotus.
Did you guys start watching some more stuff?
I know.
Uh,
I know.
all right. Now something you do know a little bit about. Spider-Man 4.
Yes.
Spider-Man 4 is coming out soonish, probably in the next 2 years.
This is
I
gonna be
assume
Tom
probably
Holland, right?
correct. Tom Holland,
Okay.
Spider-Man 4. I assume they're going to start filming hopefully later this year, and with a release date of maybe next Christmas,
Oh,
since it
wow.
seems like that is a great window for Spider-Man to come out, since it made all of the money when it came out in Christmas time.
Now,
Um,
I also heard that this
oh,
Spider-Man 4 allegedly is going to bring Sony's spin-off movies into the MCU. So like Venom, Madam Web, Morbius, if they want to bring him in. That's what I heard.
mm, PU. That stinks.
Yeah, but do you think that's gonna happen?
I think Venom no, because of the way
Really?
that well, No Way Home ended with Venom coming to the MCU, leaving a piece of Venom behind, and then Venom left. So
Yeah.
I think that for sure is no. I think the bigger question is probably a multiversal Sinister Six that comes after Spider-Man. But if I have to guess, I'm gonna say no, due to the
That
fact
stinks.
that Spider-Man in and of itself is very easily sold. Nobody wants to see Morbius again. Nobody's really interested maybe in seeing Craven. We'll have to see when the movie comes out in October, but like yikes. And just give him his own villains. Why do we have to make everyone an anti-hero? Like that's the thing, like, oh okay, cool, they come in and fight Spider-Man, but we just spent 3 movies with people like where they're like kind of good guys. So why are they now all against Spider-Man?
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
Um but speaking of Spider-Man 4 villains, it's supposed to be a villain that we've never seen on screen in live action before. So I have two guesses. One
I
is Scorpion,
yeah.
who we've already seen in the MCU but haven't fully seen suited up, so it would be make sense. Also, it
Who
finally
have we
kind of
seen
brings
in the MCU? That's Scorpion. Is that
in Spider-Man: Homecoming, the man who went to jail and at the end of the movie was like talking to Vulture and was like, "You know who Spider-Man is?" And he's like, "I don't." That is who's going to be that is Scorpion.
how do you know?
Because that's who he is in the comics and that's what his name is,
Oh,
and that's what they're setting up a teasing. Um, I also think that a great choice would be Mr. Negative,
agreed.
which would be a great, especially since they already set up Feast in the last movie. You could set up Mr. Negative and owning Feast. So I think there's a lot of great choices. I think it's smart to do something we haven't seen before. It just kind of sucks that a
Hobgoblin,
lot of
Rhino. Could it be either of them?
yeah. Well, Rhino's gonna be the main villain in Craven, which is
Oh,
dumb.
okay.
See, here's my issue: you're wasting all these great Spider-Man villains on spin-offs. Like we're gonna be stuck with like Big Wheel in Spider-Man 5. Like it's just dumb. Um, but I don't know. Bring in This is our prayer circle. Bring in Black Cat, Felicia Hardy. Prayer circle complete. Um, but yeah, I'm excited for it. I think Spider-Man 4 is gonna be incredible. I think Tom Holland. The biggest thing that I can say about Tom Holland is that he clearly protects the character. I think that's really interesting. From us, like, no one, even like Robert Downey Jr. didn't really do it to the level of protection of a character in the way that Tom Holland does, where he knows what Spider-Man is and knows what it isn't. And when they try to force what it isn't on him, he really retracts and backs up, which I think is really smart because he kind of has all the power in this relationship. So we'll have to see who they pick for Spider-Man 4, but sign me up. Um, but now I think we're on our last little bit of news, and that is
The best.
Wizards of Waverly Place is coming back.
Stoked. I'm stoked.
Stoked for Wizards of Waverly Place. Um, so the rumor is right now basically that it's going to be about Justin, who is now the Chancellor of WizTech. Right? Isn't that what it's called?
No idea.
Who knows? It's been a long time. But basically, he's in charge of WizTech, and he's got 2 boys, and he's training them to be the next generation of Russo family wizards. Selena Gomez will be showing up in the pilot episode, along with maybe some smaller here and there's throughout the rest of the show. No news on anyone else yet. But yeah, no, this sounds pretty great. Like, I'm
Yeah.
excited for it.
So I can't remember at the end of the original Wizards, was Justin the family wizard? Because you know how there's one wizard that becomes the
Yes.
family wizard, then the other two lose their
So,
powers, right?
correct. So, Alex won the family wizard competition at the end of the show.
Okay.
Alex wins. She becomes this family wizard, but then that old kind of Dumbledore knockoff guy was like, I'm going to retire. So, Justin, why don't you become my successor? So then Justin also gets powers, and Max gets the sub shop.
That all occurs in the original Wizards in the last episode.
In the last episode
This
of
isn't
Wizards.
like speculation or.
No, that is literally what happens in the last episode of Wizards.
Oh, okay, cool.
So Alex is the family wizard, and Max gets the sub shop, and he
Max
becomes
gets the morsels,
yeah, basically
the
he's
crumbs left behind.
yeah. But this sounds pretty great. I think you can do a lot with it. I hope it's done well. Um, I don't know. I hope it's a little bit more. I hope it gears towards the older audience because it's pretty clear that who they're trying to get to watch this again, which is the older audience.
The people that grew up watching, yeah.
Yeah, so just make it a little bit more, I don't know, older.
PG-13.
Uh, yeah, don't be
Yeah.
shy with it.
Yeah.
Um, but actually, Charles, we have an exclusive clip of the first episode of Wizard of the Place, the reboot. Our friends over at Disney, they know we're a big podcast, so they wanted us to help promote this show. And so we'll put that in here now, just so that you can get a taste of what this show might be like. Oh my gosh, Alex, how are you? It's been so long. Oh my gosh, hi Justin. Yeah, no, it's been a while. I've obviously just been, doing my wizarding stuff around the world, and I really haven't a chance to come home. Yeah, no, neither have I. The kid's been busy. I'm teaching at Wiz Tech, so it's been a lot, but I'm glad we could come back to the sub shop and see Max now. Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, there he is. Hey, yo, let me get 2 orders of pastrami. I need a roast beef on rye, and who let you toes in? Max, how are you? It's so good to see you. No, you toes get out of here. I don't ever want to see you toes again. Max, what's wrong? Yeah, Max, why are you so angry at us? No, there's a reason I haven't talked to you two since that goddamn wizard tournament. You two cheated. There was supposed to be 1 family wizard and 2 regulars, and now it's just me. You cheated because now you got some fancy pants job where you get to do wizard for a living, and you, Alex, you just get to prance around the world doing your wizard stuff, while little old Max is stuck here at this goddamn sandwich shop. Max, I thought you loved this sandwich shop. This is our family business. Oh, it's a family business? Then where's my family been? Because after Dad died, Mom doesn't do much but sit upstairs and drink, and now it's just you two and me. And where have you two been? Anywhere but here. Hey, no pickle with that. They didn't pay for pickle. Alright, now you two listen to me. I don't want to see you here. You two get to do magic, and I'm up at 4 a.m. making subs. I go to sleep at 2 a.m. thinking about subs. Oh, Max, why don't you have kids? Oh, well, let me tell you, because I'm stuck in this sandwich shop every single day. I cannot escape this sandwich shop for the life of me. Because, Max didn't get powers, he gets a sandwich shop. What do you think I wanted? A sandwich shop? Or wizarding powers? Use your brain. Ugh, unbelievable, you two. So why don't you just leave, use your powers somewhere else, and let me do my thing? Max, this is... I had no idea. If you needed help, you should have asked. Oh, really? How's your reception over there at WizTech? Let me just call my cellular provider and get an extension to the wizarding world. No, wrong. Not doing that, alright? You two get out of here. I need to go refill the mustards, and hey, maybe just go be depressed again, because that's all I do every single day. I'm tired of you two. Get the hell out of here. Oh my god, Max, I had no idea. Yeah, geez, Max, doesn't sound like you want to be in the reboot. Get the hell out of here. I mean, I think that sounded great.
I still can't believe how lucky we've been getting all of these sneak peeks.
No, it's really, and you know what it is? It's thanks to the audience. The audience, the large audience we have allows us to have these opportunities, and we just want to say thank you once again for listening, because it really helps us have these kind of opportunities on the show.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. No, thank you. But that was it for news. So, round of applause. Great job. We got through all that news that we had so much of. Now let's talk about something so fun. Let's talk about I.S.S.
I.S.S.
I.S.S. What's this movie about, Charles?
So the I.S.S. is the International Space Station.
Hell yeah,
Basically, after the Cold War, the U.S. and Russia collaborated on the I.S.S., and they each send, there are 6 total inhabitants, I guess you can call it.
Yeah.
There are 6 total people that live aboard the I.S.S. in space, and it's 3 Americans and 3 Russians. And the whole point of it is to basically commend collaboration and I guess teamwork, working together, and just show that the ties are strong between Russia and America, and there's peace, right? But The problem, so ISS, the movie's about there's a nuclear war on the surface of Earth between the U.S. and Russia, and then the U.S. sends their three Americans an order to take control of the ISS by any means necessary, and the Russians also receive that order from their government. And so the movie's kind of just about because these are all good friends. They've lived in close quarters for months. The movie's about the six of them and how they respond to getting orders from their government, ultimately the people that they serve, and how they navigate next steps, knowing that they're pretty much aboard with their quote unquote enemies now.
Yeah, and oh boy, is it not good.
Okay, I do you want to go first or me, or
Yeah,
are we gonna
I'll go.
have like a
We'll do a little discussion.
okay?
I'll go first with fast thoughts. I think the concept is great. I think the
Hmm.
concept is very interesting. I think the execution is quite poor. I gave this 2 stars on Letterboxd, and my review is January movies strike again. Um, it's just not very good. I think that I can see what they're going for, but one of my main issues is honestly with casting. There's a few people in this movie who are supposed to be like menacing characters, and they just casted them as like weaker looking people. I think Ariana DeBose is fine in this role. I wish that she was a little bit more strong. I think that it would be really interesting if she was a little bit more of a badass. Um, but it's just such a disappointing execution after what could have been a very interesting concept. And after you give your review, I want to just say a few things that I would change that I think would make this a lot better.
Okay. Okay, so I agree with the beginning of what you said. I think it's a really interesting concept. I gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd. I think it's a really interesting concept. That's why I was really excited going into it. I think I was the one that brought up, let's go see this movie, and you were like, okay, sure.
Yeah,
I do think that the execution was underwhelming. I don't think it was as bad as you make it out to be. I disagree that these characters just to avoid spoiling, I disagree when you say that some of these characters should be intimidating because ultimately these are scientists. They're not fighters. They're not, soldiers. They're not supposed to be intimidating. They've literally never been violent, and it is kind of obvious when they start going about sabotaging, that they don't really know how to do it, and they're just like kind of going blind. So I don't think they should be intimidating
yeah,
because they don't want to fight. And Ariana DeBose's character, I also don't think that she should. I mean, I think she's plenty strong. She's kind of the main character in this movie, and the whole thing is she's coming aboard the ISS after having never been on it before. Like the other 5 people have been on it before, and she's coming on for the first time. So she's still trying to meet everyone, and it's like it's scary meeting everyone and living with them for the first time. So and all things considered, I like that she was optimistic, and tried to see the better in people. And then when that failed, then she started kind of taking things a little more seriously. I don't think that she should be this badass woman because I don't know, I just don't see that as her character. She tried to
yeah,
avoid
yeah.
conflict as
I
much as
will. Yeah,
possible, and I think that's good.
maybe I just wanted her to be more like Ellen Ripley than she was. Okay, but here are my 2 things that I would have changed, and I think it would have been a lot better.
I'll probably agree with these.
I think number one, there should have been a question if there was a war to begin with. I think it would have been vastly more interesting if they didn't have the ability to just go up and look at the Earth and see that there was literally nuclear explosions everywhere, but they just got those messages, and there was this question of, is this real? Is this not real? And you could see people start to actually freak out. Where when they look outside and they see the world is over, it's pretty cut and dry that this is happening. Where if there was more of a question to if it is it happening, that would have been more interesting in my opinion. I think another thing that would have been interesting to change is if when they were all going back and forth of like, oh, we got to eliminate one person, they eliminate the other person, is having a little bit more of an ability to see the solution at the end of the day. Like I think the ending was quite poor because the world below is destroyed. Like they kept showing the shots of the Earth, and looks like lava is everywhere because it's just
Yeah.
glowing fire. Like there is nothing to really return to, and they're like, oh, we have to go back to give these people like these pills that can make them not have radiation sickness. It's like they're gone, like they're just gone.
Yeah, they might be done so.
So I think that there was a point where it'd have been like, what are you even fighting for? Like, what are you going back to? Like, if it was a little bit less destruction on Earth, you would have been like, okay, yeah, the cities are gone, but there's still people there. There's still stuff to fight for. Where it just looked like everything was red and gone.
Yeah, it looked like the sun.
Yes, which
It
is
was
just I
pretty
don't
red.
know.
Um, so I honestly agree with that first one. I think that would have been really interesting if you couldn't see Earth and they're just like, what? Like we just got this
Yeah,
transcript, we're not allowed to talk about it. I The problem I had with it was I'm not gonna say which team struck first. I feel like that's not a spoiler. Obviously, one team had to strike first. I'm not gonna say which one. I don't like how there wasn't really a lot of thought behind it. It wasn't like, well, these are our friends. Like maybe we should think about this, have a conversation with them first. They just
yes,
immediately started distrusting each other and started swinging.
and I
I
don't
mean,
have
they
an
didn't
issue
start
with that.
swinging per se, but they started,
Yeah,
sabotaging. And I just think, if you've been aboard for months and it shows the night before they're all hanging out and partying and having a good time, it's hard to think that they would immediately start trying to kill each other.
yeah, I think that's an
And
interesting concept. I think the issue for me also was I don't care. I'm gonna spoil this movie. It made like $3 million. I don't think anyone's really going to see it. Um, the way that they wanted to kill that first guy, where they just pushed him out into space, that is insanely messed up. Like of all of the ways that you could kill someone, especially if they're your friend and you're like, okay, maybe I'll make it easier for them, so it's like, quick. That was the worst way to go about it. Like he would have been floating out there if he didn't somehow grab onto that in the last second. He'd have been floating out there for hours just waiting to like have his life support run out, which is insanely
eight
messed up.
hours. They said he would have been
Yeah,
drowning for 8 hours.
which is terrifying to think
Yeah, it's
about.
pretty sick.
Um, yeah, no, this movie did not make me want to go to space. That's for sure. Um, it's just it's a wasted concept that is really interesting. That I think the execution is quite poor. Um,
Yeah.
but and the ending sucked.
The
Like the
ending
ending,
was really lame. I was thinking about it like, okay, you have these people left now. You're not going to
yeah,
fight each other. What now? And then, yeah, the ending was just like, okay,
the
cool.
ending was not great. I think a big thing with the ending is like I get what they were doing. It's like, oh, neither side really won. It was humanity that won. But like it never felt like that. It never felt like there was hope. It felt like there was just all this negative, like, oh, I don't know what we're going back to. I can tell you're going back to fire because that's all it looked like it was down on Earth. So I don't know. A
Well,
real
our
stinker.
spoiler-free review has now been
Yeah,
riddled with spoilers, but is what it is.
real stinker. I don't know. I kind
Yeah.
of want to lower my score to like a 1.5.
I'm gonna
Not
keep
great.
it at a 3. I enjoyed watching it.
Hey,
A
you do
lot
you,
of
man.
missed opportunities, but
Yes, big
yeah,
time.
it is what it is.
So yeah, now let's get into our draft because we were inspired by space movies, thanks to ISS.
Thanks,
We're gonna talk about
I.S.S.
thanks ISS.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna talk about Star Wars. So we're gonna rank all of our Star Wars movies. That would be 11 of them. We are not going to include the Clone Wars animated movie, just because I think we're just gonna focus on live action. And this is the mainline movies, so none of the Ewok spin-off movies. This is just the main 9 Star Wars movies, Rogue One, and Solo. All she wrote. So very exciting. Maybe do you want to do like a first quick what is our relationship with Star Wars?
Sure.
Okay. I can go first. My relationship with Star Wars is I really like Star Wars. I'm not a Star Wars super fan like a lot of people are. I think Star Wars is amazing for the time, and I think that one of the big things about it is that it can evolve with the times. And you'll see that reflected in my choices. But I think that there's a lot of potential here with Star Wars that is not utilized, and I think that Star Wars can be so much more than it is. And that's my relationship with Star Wars.
Okay. Nice.
You-
Yeah, I also am not a super fan. I watch them. I enjoy them. I like listening about the lore too, and theories. But that being said, I'm not a super fan. Like I have some friends back home who are like really really into it, and I can't really keep up with them, and I don't really have the desire to keep up with them because I'm kind of just a casual
There's a lot
watcher.
to catch up on.
Yeah, there's a lot of books too. But I don't share the sentiment that there's a lot you can do with Star Wars. I'm kind of more of a traditional Star Wars fan. I really like the original trilogy. I really like the prequels. I do not like the sequels. I'm not a huge fan of some of the spin-offs, but they're fine. And I'm not really enjoying a lot of the shows. I know Hunter, you've been like talking about what you like about the shows, and I'm just not really. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Also, the shows will not be in our ranking because it's just a lot. It's too much.
Yeah, it's too much. The only show that I liked a lot was the Clone Wars because I feel like it expanded on some of the characters that were already in the prequels, and just gave us a little more context. They're also interesting stories, and I like the Mandalorian, but I don't know some of the new stuff like Boba Fett. Not a big fan. Ahsoka was fine. I'm more of kind of a traditional Star Wars fan.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I like Mando season 1 and 2. Like I liked Ahsoka a lot. I really liked Andor. Like really liked Andor. Um, but yeah. Okay, let's get into this.
Cool.
Charles, do you want to go first with your number 11?
Starting with 11. Okay.
Yeah, no, we'll go bottom up. We'll start with 11.
My 11. I don't think it'll come as a surprise to many. The Rise of Skywalker,
Oh, let's see.
episode 9.
Episode 9, the end of the Skywalker saga.
That movie was stinky poo poo garbage.
Yep.
It sucked. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, they basically just contradicted themselves in everything. Like Palpatine
Oh
came
yeah.
back, so the original trilogy was for nothing.
They
Um,
fly now.
they
They fly
fly
now.
now. Horrible script. Horrible, just everything. The kiss at the
Yep.
end, bruh. Come on. Like that.
Yikes.
That movie was just a pile of shit. That sucked.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with you there. Not my number 11.
Okay.
My number 11 is Attack of the
I
Clones.
had a feeling you were gonna say that.
Attack of the Clones is everything that's wrong with Star Wars. I think it is the epitome of what makes the prequel trilogy so bad. Um, sure, there's some good moments in it. It gave us a great Lego Star Wars game and levels, but
And some great
it's not
sets.
good. It is really not good. I would go as far as to say it is the only Star Wars movie that is objectively bad. I
Oof.
think a lot of, yeah.
Oof. I don't know about that.
But no, this one is a real stinker. And honestly, when I watch the prequels, I usually skip this one. So yeah, that's my number 11. Is Attack
Okay.
of the Clones.
Okay. All right.
Number 10.
Um, number 10, I have The Last Jedi, which you're not going to be happy about, but so I think The Last Jedi is also horrible, also dog shit. Hunter loves this one, and we'll see that later. But just same thing.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler. That's my bad. That's on me. I just, this movie's kind of nothing to me. Luke's character, you have him as this like the savior of the universe, and now all of a sudden he's a hermit. And yeah, I get that it's because of what happened when he was training the next line of Jedi, but it just doesn't make sense that he's a hermit now. He's really hesitant to help Rey. I don't really love Rey's character. I love Finn's character, but he was just off on this like random tangent on a world that I wasn't really that into. The whole storyline is they're just trying to run away in hyperspace. Like nothing really happens besides Rey getting the Force and Luke coming to help. So I don't know. Just not a big fan at all.
I'll talk about that movie a little later.
I'm
Um,
sure you will.
how later? Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, my number 10 is The Phantom Menace. Uh, real not good. The only good thing in it is Duel of the Fates and the pod racing scene. Um, Midichlorians stink real
Disagree.
bad.
I disagree.
Midichlorians are the worst, and so I am anti this
Disagree.
movie. Um, this is also a thing about Star Wars that I find really interesting is like amazing characters that live on in fans that when you watch their appearances are really bad. And there's two that stand out to me. One is Boba Fett, and the other is this character in this movie, Darth Maul. Where in this movie, yeah, he's cool, but like the level that fans put him at and the way he became later in the animated shows, so different from this movie. And I think it kind of gives people like, oh, this movie wasn't that bad. It brought us him. Like, no, this movie stinks. Not good. Real bad. Oof. Mega bad. And that's my number 10.
Okay. Okay. My nine, Solo. I honestly have nothing to say about this movie. This was just like I don't even think I can remember this movie that well, and that should kind of tell you something. I just think it was unnecessary. Wasn't super into it. Yeah, I think I just got bored, frankly. Like it could be a good movie.
Understandable.
I was just very bored with the story, and yeah, that's why it's my nine.
Understandable.
Don't have a lot to say about that.
No, understandable. This my number 9 is the last of the movies I consider bad, and that would be The Rise of Skywalker. The Rise of Skywalker is not good. It uses a lot of the stuff that was set up in The Last Jedi and ignores it and retcons it and is just really bad. I think this is the punishment that Disney kind of deserved by not starting off with a 3-story arc structure when they made these movies, their trilogy. And it's just a real waste of what could have been something special. I do think that them rehashing Palpatine and making Rey Palpatine's what is he, her granddaughter
Yeah,
is so embarrassing
something
on
like that.
all levels. And it's just sad to see that that's what Star Wars kind of became. The one good thing from this movie is I would say the last 4 minutes with Rey kind of looking out and seeing on Tatooine and seeing what the future can hold. I also think her yellow lightsaber rocks. Like it's very cool. Um, but just a shame. And I think the biggest thing here is the waste of Finn's character, which could have been great. And he was basically just turned into a standing off in the distance kind of guy. But yeah, not good. You talked about it already. Not a good movie.
Yeah, Finn rocks. I don't know why they just threw him to the side.
Yeah,
Um, I had something to say. Oh, yeah, I completely disagree. Last 4 minutes are booty.
I like when she looks and
No.
sees Leia and Luke. I think that's a really nice touch because especially when she says like Rey Skywalker is cringe, but I think the idea behind it makes sense.
I'm gonna wave the bullshit flag on that one. Her saying
No,
Skywalker is the worst. That sucked. And then she just like takes Luke's spot or his place and looking out on Tatooine. Doesn't she bury his lightsaber too or something?
yeah, but see,
Yeah, it's like
here's why I like that. I don't like
no,
her saying Rey Skywalker, but I like the idea of that because it shows that Star Wars will carry on. Star
no.
Wars has a future outside of the Skywalkers. It can keep going without these three characters
At
sticking
that point,
around.
say Rey Palpatine. Show like that she's good even though her last name is
I
Palpatine.
think you should have just said I'm Rey.
Or just
Because
not say anything and just
no,
end the
when that woman is
movie.
like, "Who are you?" Just say, "I'm Ray," because it could have been her moment of being her own person. It could have been her moment of saying, "It doesn't matter who my past is. I am my own person, and I'm moving forward." Instead, she said, "I'm Skywalker," which like the sentiment is fine, but like it's a dumb execution. But I think the idea is there for what they
Everyone
were
in
going for.
that audience, when she said Ray Skywalker, did the SpongeBob like,
Grown.
"Oh,
Oh,
brother,
brother,
that
this guy
sucked." Also,
stinks.
if your redeeming quality is a yellow lightsaber, like that's cool. Like, okay, yeah, a yellow lightsaber is cool. That's all
There's
though.
a it's 9 on my list. It's not 1.
No, I know, but you said the last 4 minutes are good, and I just disagree. So I just
I
wanted
think
to.
that they are good.
No, I don't.
All right, give me your number 8.
My number eight is Force Awakens. I think I'm going to be a broken record here, like the rest of the of Star Wars fans. It's literally a New Hope.
Yeah,
just
spoiler
more
alert.
modern.
My number eight is also Force Awakens.
It's literally just a New Hope. It's just yeah,
They did the all time if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and
yeah.
it
Also,
stanks.
I was articulating this to you a couple weeks ago. Another problem I have with the new Star Wars is I feel like old Star Wars, it has awkward dialogue and script and filming, you know?
Hmm.
And these new ones are like
They're
modern
too
movies.
clean.
They're too
They're too
clean.
clean.
Yeah. Like I
Yes.
like a little what's the word?
Little grit and grime.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Like the
Yeah.
prequels, I mean the originals obviously they were made in what, the 70s and 80s. Of course they're going to have that. And the prequels, they had better effects. You know, the lightsabers looked better and they had better fights because they had the capabilities, but they still had that kind of gritty dialogue, a little bit choppy, and some people critique that, but I think it's endearing in Star Wars. I
No,
really
I
like
don't
that.
disagree. I think a big issue for me in this movie is the waste. We already mentioned it, but the waste of Finn as a character.
Hmm.
Finn could have been the epitome of Star Wars, where anyone can become the hero, and then they waste him. Like to have it be where Finn goes from basically a guy who mops the floors on a Star Destroyer to then becoming the hero of the rebellion would have been so fascinating. But
Yeah.
instead, they just decided to stink it up and make whatever they made,
Have a little
which is
kiss
just
between Kylo Ren and Rey.
should have been Ray and Finn. Stand by that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's both of our number eights.
Cool.
So
Glad we agree on
number
that.
seven.
Don't
Oh,
think
hang on.
we'll agree
Also,
again.
best thing in that movie when in the beginning when Kylo Ren gets shot and then he freezes the blast in place. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool. Like you
That's really
literally, what was this, 2014 it released? 2016?
yeah.
You go to the
Yes.
movie, first 5 minutes, he freezes what is it?
Yeah. And you're like,
Freezes
oh,
a,
we're back.
yeah, that was sick.
Yeah.
Menacing. Okay, my seven is Attack of the Clones. Um,
Yikes.
I mean, yeah, it's not a great movie. Like, it's probably probably the worst movie of those six prequels and originals. Uh, it gave us Jango Fett. He's pretty cool. I thought
Oh
his
boy.
I thought he was cool. Um, Jango Fett's sick. I think Obi-Wan's character gets a little development. I think the fights are cool. Besides that, though, Anakin's kind of just like a whiny baby. Um,
Yeah.
he's like
And if I have
he's
to
a
see
teen, so
C-3PO and R2D2 go through that stupid droid factory one more time, my God.
yeah, yeah, it wasn't great, but that's why it's my
Uh,
seven. It's better than any of
hey,
the sequels.
that's why it's your seven. All right, this is the cat. Now everything for here for me above here is in the good category. So my number seven is Solo. I disagree with you. I think Solo is good. I think there's a lot of awesome things there. I think Alden Ehrenreich as Solo is really solid. Um, and I would have loved to seen Solo too. The Kessel Run was cool. I think Lando is awesome, and they're making that spin-off show apparently.
Of
But
course, they are.
no, I would have loved. I really like Solo.
I'm happy for you.
Hey, thanks, man.
Yeah,
Also, like the ending was pretty cool. With you know, we got Darth Maul. It's pretty sick. So I like Solo.
cool.
You don't like Solo. It's okay. You don't have to like Solo.
um, all right, my six. This one, okay. My six is Rogue One, which is low
Boo,
on a lot of lists.
boo.
Yeah, it's low. But that's just because the top five, I like them so much, and I can't justify putting that above any of them because if I'm going purely based off of enjoyment, like I enjoy the five above so much. So, but Rogue One, I thought it was really good. I thought it was a great. I mean, obviously it's a great story. Gives some backstory on A New Hope. I think the Darth Vader scene at the end may be the greatest minute, 60 seconds of Star Wars
Yeah,
in all of the movies. That was crazy.
I agree.
Um, and yeah, I filming was cool. I like the planet they ended up on, like that tropical planet.
Yeah,
That battle was sick. Um, yeah, good movie.
no, I agree.
Yeah.
Um, so my number 6 is Return of the Jedi. Um,
Okay.
I really like Return of the Jedi. I think it's obviously the weakest out of the original 3 Star Wars movies.
Hmm.
I'm not the biggest fan of Ewoks in general. I think they're fine. Um,
Oh, I love them.
but I don't know. I just think it's the weakest of the original 3. I think that Darth Vader's story ended well. Um, and I don't know. It's not bad in any way. It's just 6 for me. Like it's just one of those things where it's there's 5 other movies where more good outweighs it, and it's just in 6.
Yep.
So
That's fair.
nothing really negative to say about it. It's just not
Have you
for
ever
me.
played Battlefront 2 Ewok Hunt?
Oh, scary,
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah.
When all the lights go out, whoa.
You just get
Yeah.
bombarded. Um,
Yeah.
okay. Top 5. Here we go.
Top 5. Here we
Here we
are.
go. Okay. My 5. You're not going to like this. A lot of people won't like this. Phantom Menace. I love Phantom Menace.
Oh, brother, this
I
guy
no 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 no.
stinks.
I really like Phantom Menace because of Duel of the Fates. I love it. I think
Ugh.
that fight, aside from that 60 seconds of Vader at the end of Rogue One, is probably my favorite. Nope, sorry, Mustafar. That third favorite. Duel of the Fates is my third favorite fight. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
whatever. Whatever.
I don't know. I can't really. I just think Phantom Menace was very interesting. Like they go underwater to that. I forget what planet. The Gungan planet, not
I
planet.
want to say I'm gonna say
City.
something controversial.
Okay. Qui-Gon is probably one of my top 3 Jedi. The only one I'd
I don't
probably
like
put
Duel of the
ahead
Fates.
is you don't like Qui-Gon?
I don't like Duel of the Fates.
You don't like Duel of the Fates?
I think it's over choreographed. I think the song is incredible. I think the fight in and of itself is not great.
Okay. That's just stupid.
Look at, listen, it's an opinion. It's an opinion.
Yeah, it is an opinion. Um, I just, yeah, I don't think it's over choreographed. I think it's beautiful. I think that's the first like good fight we got in Star Wars because the originals couldn't do that. And I think it was just
Hey man, you're
a
allowed your own
hell of a
opinion.
conclusion to that first movie. And the music rocked.
Music was quite good.
But yeah, I'm a big fan of the Gungans. I know Jar Jar is really annoying to a lot of people. I thought it was funny. So yeah, Phantom Menace number 5.
My number 5 is Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3.
That's crazy.
Um,
That is
I
crazy.
easily the best of the prequel trilogy by far. Um, the opening scene is incredible with them on their fighters, and I think that the last battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin is great. I think there's a lot of stuff in the middle that is good, doesn't really reach exceptional territory. Um, but I think overall this is the best of the prequel trilogies by far. I think it is the most Star Wars feeling of those movies. Um, and I think I give it like a 4 stars. Like I think it's great. It's just number 5 for me because
doesn't
I think
reach
I what
doesn't
say
reach exceptional territory.
it doesn't I don't adore it as some would say.
Dude, okay, I'll save my comments for when I put Revenge of the Sith, but I just think that's a silly place to put it. You talk
Hey,
all about this character development. You get the most
listen,
character development of Anakin Skywalker, and you throw it in the number. You put the most
that's
character
why it's
development
5.
movie in probably the greatest villain in cinematic history, and you put that at your number 5.
If you're not with me, you're my enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's number 5. It's not 10. It's 5.
Okay. 4, Return of the Jedi. I agree. Probably the weakest. I mean, definitely the weakest of the originals. Um, but I also agree. Capped off the trilogy well. Um, got a redemption of Darth Vader.
Hmm.
The ending scene with all the Ewoks, the celebration. I really like that too. Um, yeah. Besides, I mean, I don't really have a lot of other things to say. I just prefer
No, I
the
think it's good.
originals, and I think it was a really good way to cap them off.
I think this movie is hurt most by the re-editing that George Lucas did, where he added the CGI stuff to it, um, where he added more celebrations at the end. He added the band at Jabba's palace, and they became CGI instead of puppets. Um,
Hmm.
with what's his name?
Max Rebo.
Max Rebo and the Jizz Whalers.
Yeah, they rock.
They rock. Um, but yeah, no, we both like that movie quite a bit.
Hmm.
Um, my number 4 is The Last Jedi. Uh, let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Which this just comes back to how we fundamentally disagree about Star Wars. To me, Star Wars is about moving forward. To me, Star Wars is about you have the Force that goes through everything, and it should continue on without the same 5 people around. And The Last Jedi is all about that, where Luke at the end finally realizes that no matter what he does, no matter if he tries to end the Jedi Order, it doesn't matter because he is not the Jedi Order. The Jedi Order is so much more than just him. And it continues on. And even at the end, that little kid pulls the broom in.
And then they do
That
nothing with it ever again.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they do nothing with it because that symbolizes that there is still hope for the universe. There is still others out there that can have this gift, that can have this potential. They just have to be found. And I really like that from a storytelling aspect because it should the idea of the last Jedi is true. Luke was the last traditional Jedi because something new is coming from it. In the same way that Kylo kind of killed when he killed um, Snoke, he kind of killed the last traditional Sith. There's something new that became of both of them. Rey and Kylo became a new version of whatever the Sith and Jedi Order were. I mean, Yoda literally comes in and says it. It's like you have to change over time. It doesn't matter what the Jedi texts say, that you can be something more. There is a fluidness to what the Force can be, and there's a fluidness to what the Jedi can be. And I think that that is exactly what Star Wars is about, and that's why it's done so well. Now, your argument is that nothing happens, which I completely disagree because I think it sets up so much of what is to come that they choose to ignore. And that's my main issue with it. I think that the Luke stuff is great because let's be honest, he was that character. Yes, we can want Luke to show up to a battlefield and pull star destroyers out of the sky with the Force, but that's never who he was. He was always the kid from Tatooine who was given a shot. And the shot then was to become the greatest hero in the universe. But at the end of the day, he was still that kid from Tatooine who made mistakes. And I think that's so interesting. And what he finally realizes as well is that it's not on him to determine what the Force and what the Jedi can be, but it's on everyone else to kind of create their own path and create their own future. And it rocks. So I'm not going to let you take this one away from me. The Last Jedi is good.
As a pro midichlorian guy, I disagree with all of that.
See, but why do you like midichlorians?
Because that's why Anakin is the most powerful Force user in history. Because he
But
had the
why
most.
can't he be?
He
Why
was
can't he just be
literally
the?
breeded to be that.
No, but why can't he just be born
Like a
more
regular
powerful?
Joe
Why?
Schmo.
No, why can't he just be more powerful because he's just born more powerful? In the same way that some people are born
He
with.
is born more powerful because he's
But
born with more
no, but my
midichlorians.
issue with midichlorians is it limits who can become special and who can become heroes.
Does Han
Where the
Solo
whole
have
idea.
midichlorians? Is he still a hero and is he special?
No, but that's not. The idea is that if you have midichlorians, you can wield the Force. Where I think the argument is anyone can wield the Force if they tap into it. In the same way that Luke says, the Force flows through all of us. It's just the fact you have to understand it. Where, kind of, he does. Where, remember at the end of, what is it, Return of the Jedi, like, Han Solo feels that something is wrong? Same way. The Force can speak to him. And so anyone can have the Force. And I don't have an issue with there being something where, oh, some people are just more predisposed to feeling it and more powerful. That's not an issue, but I think it should almost be like a muscle where like if you can work it out, you can become more powerful.
I think that's fair.
I
I,
just think it's a
I don't think
bad
that anyone should be able to
plan.
use the Force. I think anyone should be able to tap into it, but not use it. You know, like I'm fine with the feeling because that's like gut, that's intuition. But actually,
In
like,
the same way that in Rogue One, the blind man used the Force. He didn't use the Force, but he tapped into the Force, where he was like, "The Force is one. I am one with the Force is with me." And like, I think that is interesting as a concept versus, I just so happen to be born with more midichlorians. I can now do cool stuff. Like, I think that it
well, I
should
think
come
everyone
from
is
the
born
two.
with midichlorians. It's just the level in which you have. That's how much you can tap into the Force. So, like,
But then
technically, yes, everyone
yeah,
does have them. I think that's the whole thing. It's just like Anakin had an astronomical number, and that's why he was destined and had the potential to be the greatest Jedi slash Sith in all of Star Wars history. So like that
but see,
blind
that's
dude
why.
probably had midichlorians. He was able to tap into it, but like
But then
inevitably,
doesn't that discount what Obi-Wan was able to do?
no.
Like, Obi-Wan had a lower level of midichlorians. So in theory he should be a much weaker Jedi, but because he was able to train and become who he was able to defeat Anakin.
Obi-Wan
And I
wasn't a
think
great Force user. He was a really good duelist. That was his thing.
exactly that's what
He
I'm
was
saying.
he was all defense. I think he mastered. There are either 7 or 8 forms of what is it like of lightsaber, and he had mastered I think all of them, and he was inherently a defender, and he was able to capitalize on enemies and recognize what kind of duelists they were, and he was able to counter them perfectly. He wasn't
Yeah.
force wise. He didn't have the advantage when it came to the force. He was just a master duelist, which is why he was able to do so well. He was also really smart and wise.
Yeah.
It wasn't
I
about his
also
force abilities, which is why he was. I'm not discounting him.
no, I just think that the ending of The Last Jedi is great because Luke finally stands up to, Kylo, but he's not the hero of that day. Rey is. Rey saved everyone. Rey finally tapped into the Force and moved all those rocks so that they could be saved and fight another day. And Kylo's anger and hubris is what really drove them to lose that day. I think that's a really interesting way to kind of go about it. And I think that the Broom Kid is,
Broom kid.
but I think that's what Star Wars is about. That anyone can become the hero. Anyone can become the world's and the galaxy's most greatest Jedi, as long as there's hope. And I think that that's what that movie is about. And I think it's great.
If that's your takeaway, I think that's fair. That's just not really my takeaway. So that's why I'm not the biggest
Fine.
fan.
Hey, to each his own. But now we're on to podium. Top three.
Number 3, New Hope. Open
Yeah,
up the
same.
same.
Same. Same.
Yep.
Number three is A New Hope.
Yeah. Um, what do you have to say about it? I mean, it just opened up the trilogy. It was a great opener. It got everyone interested. It set up Luke's character really well. Had a really good ending with Obi-Wan's defeat. Introduced
Yeah,
Vader
no,
very well as well.
I think it's great. I think that it works so well and is such a well done one film movie where like you get to set up a universe, you get to explore the universe, you get to kind of see the conclusion of what could have been the universe. And I think it's great. I just think it's done so well, and I think it just works amazing. And the fact that like a random line in that movie about the Clone Wars then led to so much more is just incredible.
Hmm.
And
I agree.
it's hard to argue against the original because it's just done so well.
Yep.
But yeah,
Cool.
not much
My
to argue
number
with there.
2 is Revenge of the Sith, where it
Cool.
should be.
Okay. All
Um,
right.
I kind of voiced this earlier, but Revenge of the Sith, you have the greatest villain in cinematic history, in my opinion. Greatest villain in cinematic history. You get a just beautiful way to tell his story, what happens to him, why he goes the way he does, falls to the dark side. You get one of the greatest, actually the greatest lightsaber duel in history. It's literally like 15 minutes of just epic music on a lava planet fighting.
And it goes back to the Emperor and Yoda, which is sick.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You what else was I gonna say? You get 2 really awesome dialogues the one before the Mustafar battle and the one after, while Anakin has no legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just near
I
perfection in my
We both
opinion.
agree. It's a great movie. Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's easily the best of the the new movie. Oh, the prequel trilogy. Um, my number two is Rogue One.
Okay.
I love this movie. I think it is probably. No, do I want to say that? Yeah, I'll say that. I think objectively. No, I disagree with what I'm about to say. Never mind. I was about to say something else. That's crazy. Now that I think about it more.
What were you gonna
No, Rogue
say?
One. I was gonna say maybe it's the best movie of the Star Wars movies, like from a filmmaking standpoint. But I still think my number one is better. Um,
We have the
I think
same
Rogue
number
One.
one.
Yeah, we do. I think my Rogue One is just unbelievable from a scale aspect, from an action aspect. I think the fact that you were able to do so much with such a small story. I think the way it's taken seriously is really important. And the ending. What like it's so simple to think about, like, oh, they had to all die, right? Because that was like, oh, they in the line from In A New Hope they all died. But I think what works so well is that they didn't cop out of that. It could have been so easy to be like, oh, they got on a shuttle and escaped. But Star Wars and Disney stuck to the fact that they had to die, and I think that worked really, really well.
I
I
agree.
think Andy's a great character. Now we got that show. Um, but yeah, no, give me more serious Star Wars because I love it. But yeah, our number ones, which are I think the same.
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire, so number one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad we
Like,
agree on this. If you had
no,
put this
yeah,
in like your number five or something, I would have.
come on. Oh, I gotta do
But
that.
yeah,
Empire is great.
yeah. You
So
get
much
the
happens in this movie.
you get the greatest line. No, I'm your father.
I am your father.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Um, but yeah, like Hoth is an amazing battle. Dagobah is great. The final scene, you go to Cloud City.
Yep.
Incredible. Introduced to Lando, who's all-time good character. I think the way that this movie, I think there's very few sequels in the world that take stuff from the first movie and make it immediately better on every single level. Back to the Future is like this. Star Wars is like this. And John Wick is like this, where you can take the elements that worked so well and just multiply them by 10. And Empire does this in such a way that is amazing. Also gave us like the sickest tauntauns ever.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Um, but yeah, also this was the movie that really turned Princess Leia, I think, into such a bigger hero. Like in A New Hope, she is a hero, and she fights back for herself, and does really well. But I think this movie like makes her into the general, which I think is great, and I think that's a really big aspect of her character that comes from this movie.
Yep. We get Luke's training
Um,
too. Meet Yoda.
yeah, he gets like so good,
Yep.
so good, dude.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Wow, this movie's a rock. All right, do a quick run through of your 11 through 1 again.
All right, starting from 11, Rise of
Yep.
Skywalker, The Last Jedi, Solo, Force Awakens, Attack of the Clones, Rogue One, Phantom Menace, Return of the Jedi, A New Hope, Revenge of the Sith, Empire Strikes Back.
My number 11 is Attack of the Clones, Phantom Menace, Rise of Skywalker, Force Awakens, Solo, Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, The Last Jedi, A New Hope, Star Wars, Rogue One, and The Empire Strikes Back.
Sweet.
So good. So yeah, looking ahead at next week, I don't think anything is really releasing besides Miller's Girl, which I don't think is wide, so we might not have a chance to see that. Um, Anything we want to review next week, I think would be we could do it now if people have a chance to watch it before we review it next week.
Is there anything
I
out that
think
we haven't seen?
I think we should pick an older movie that you haven't seen.
Um, Henry was talking about watching Rocky. I've seen
Want to do
that,
the first? Okay,
but I haven't reviewed it. Like, I don't have it
we
on
could do the first
Letterboxd.
Rocky.
Okay.
All right, next week we'll do the first Rocky as our review. And we'll do the greatest music movie moments or something as a draft. We'll figure out a nice draft for that.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you so much for listening or watching on YouTube. Please subscribe. Like the podcast. Give us 5 stars. We're now on more platforms, which is exciting and fun. And be sure to follow us back on social media and Letterboxd. But for Hunter, this is Charles, and thank you so much for listening.